one thing, my outlook on the art field. Like, I before, like 2 years ago, you'd ask me what would art be like, and I would say, like, you know, like, animation is fun. Like, I want to be an animator. You know, that's like something I wanted to do. Now, when I look back, like, the field is so wide. Like, there's so many like outlets that you can go into. There's film, there's graphic design, there's industrial design, things I'd never think about before. I didn't know these existed. And the opportunities that they give, like, they pose for you, you know, like my outlook on art has been much more broader, and like also mentally, like I'll say it again, like, I've grown up a lot.
To do art means to commit yourself to your art. It's not something that's always easy. You encounter problems, you encounter obstacles, and it's up to you whether you face those problems or you just say to yourself, no, that's impossible to do that. Forget about it. Each time you advance to a new level in your work, it changes your thinking. And doing art, I think, is really more about what goes on in your mind rather than what goes on in a piece of paper. 2 years ago, there's no way I would have been able to do this. And that just tells you that it's not whether you have it or whether you don't. It's more about whether you're willing to work for it or not.
Or you could just work at home, like on your computer.
No, you need to work from a model. No.
No, I mean like rock film.
Okay, you have to do rock film, but you need to work from a model because they want to see life drawings from the model. All schools.
You mean nude, right?
Yes, they want to see the nude drawings. You need the model, and you just got to work at it and begin to kind of consider basic problems, like, does it fill the paper? Does it extend itself into depth? Am I getting a sense of depth here, of animation? That's what you're looking for. Does the contrasting, the shading work out well?
The total environment and the feeling in the room where, you know, everyone's on the same, like, level, you know, they're working up their portfolio, and they're all interested in the same thing, and, like, with this art, like, it's just like the greatest feeling, because, like, you can relate to these people. Like, you really can't relate to, like, other kids with, like, this type of thing. Like, I couldn't relate to some of my friends with, like, what I wanted to do, because I felt kind of like a little different from what they did, because they weren't into the art as like I was. And then when I came to the class, I found lots of students who I could talk to, and, like, they know what I feel, and they can respond to me, and then I know exactly how they felt, and it was just like a really great connection. Like, there's a really good vibe in the room. Mom and Dad, they gave me the same story, you know, and the same little fear. You're gonna end up in New York City somewhere, ratty clothes, and paying $5 drawing charcoal drawings for people for their enjoyment. And normally it scared me. I was like, that's gonna happen to me. I don't want to be like that. You know, I feel that I'm confident that, you know, I'll find, you know, a good job in the future in the art field, like, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that, and the fear of me ending up on 42nd Street drawing portraits.
I came into Mr. Potter's classroom when I was a sophomore. I liked art. I liked art since I was little, and, you know, I wasn't really sure that this was, like, the path that I wanted to pursue in. I just heard from students that, you know, his classroom, like, was really serious. So I talked to him, and then I was in the portfolio class. Then eventually he gave me a space, and that's where I started to develop my portfolio. This is how the students see him, like Mr. Potter, as this alien. And because, you know, we don't understand him at first, and he's trying to communicate to us, and then, you know, the students are just utterly confused. So the figure in the middle kind of represents like, you know, how the students come to understand the message that he's trying to tell us. Just like, you know, just hanging out with my friends in general. I had to give up a lot on that. My friends always make fun of me because I put down my art in front of them. And I think it's like a really difficult role because you need to have like so much patience in making your portfolio. Add my culture to my work, so I used pictures and stuff and letters and all that stuff from Sri Lankan newspapers and my pictures, and I put tissue paper and put that over the pictures, and then I took pastel and then I drew myself and in the background, and then finally I went over it with ink, writing the national anthem of Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, my lifestyle was so much different than here. I wasn't really into art at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have one art class there. I was more into music and dancing. And then when I was 13, my whole family decided to move here. So I came here, I had no sense of purpose here because I didn't speak the language, and I didn't really blend in with the crowd. I mean, my parents expected me to be, I don't know, a doctor, a lawyer, but I wanted to do art, and like any other parents would disagree with their children, my parents did, and I did not, I just did what I thought was right, meaning I did art, I committed to art, and I did it, and that's what I want to be. I want to be an artist, and I opened my parents' eyes about, and they're very understandable now. So if I were to give one advice to people who start out now, I just say, do what you want to do, not do what other people expect you to do, because it's your life.
Because around 7th grade, my father decided to just tear down the whole house and rebuild it again from scratch, and I was there from like the process of, you know, demolishing it and rebuilding it and designing it, and I was there when like the architect was doing it, and it's very difficult. It's much more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. Like when I do like more research, I find out that architects don't only do just houses. They do, you know, they do like buildings maybe, like for city plans. And architects don't only have to design like living places. They can design like different objects and items and stuff. Like some people might not be able to see how, you know, drawing faces and people and stuff relates to architecture, but it actually really does, because like, you know, the human body has a certain structure, and you have to stick to that structure in order to make, everybody's different, but they still have a basic structure. And it's sort of like a house, you know, every house is different, but you know, they all are built from like, you know, brick, cement, wood, and you have to build up from the layers. So that's what you have to do with like faces, objects, still life and stuff like that. So it is kind of similar. The Saturday program, we do a lot of nude model drawing in the mornings when we get there. And like, it's not just, you know, them standing there. They do a lot of different poses. Like, I remember for last year for the nude drawing, they made us do motion drawings. While the model was moving, we had to draw her, and we had to make sure that we show, like, it's just her drawings, but you have to emphasize it more. I like doing that one. We do, for architect, well, I mean the architecture part for the Saturday program. And so in the morning we would do nude drawing, and when we come back we'd have an architecture project. So I know we learned about tension and compression, stretching, elongation. We learned, of course, the basics like elevation, plan, section, and we were able to build things out of like cardboard. I forgot what they call it, chipboard or whatever. And it was really good because, like, at the end of each year, they would have a showing, an exhibition, and we were able to see like all the projects that we had. And sometimes we couldn't recognize them because we did them so long ago. But then, like, after you started, like, oh, this one's really nice, and we found out that it was you that did that one, so that's really cool.
Sketchbook requires a lot of time, effort. You just have to try your best. You want to learn how to try different shading techniques also. You want to try out, even though it might not look good, it's a progress, and you know, it's as long as you're trying, that's all that matters. There's also like tight pieces, and I try to get loose here, so you know, it's all good. It doesn't matter if it's complete or not. It's your sketchbook, it's personal. No one can tell you what to do with it. That's the great part about a sketchbook, because it's you. You can write stuff in it. You don't have to show it off. You know, if you want something, if you have to say something out loud that's really agitating you, you can let it all go by just using the sketchbook. Sketchbook is wonderful because it's a place where you can be free. You don't have to be afraid of telling anyone how you feel. Because you know, when someone sees your sketchbook, they'll know how you feel. So
Right.
the sketchbook, it can be personal, but on the other hand, it's a great tool for improving yourself. You're just teaching yourself. You're your own best teacher in the sketchbook. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You just try. You experiment. It's all about experimenting. If it's not, then you're not going anywhere. You want to show that you're unique, you're your own individual. And I tried getting a little goofy here. It's cartoonish, but I tried. The color is also important. You learn a little bit about the primary colors. Learn dark, cool colors, how they contrast. Even though if it's disturbing, the wire fell out. Even though it's disturbing, you know, it's you. No one can tell you who you are. It's how you feel, and that's why I like the sketchbook. That's the main reason I like it, because no one can tell me what to do, and it just, you know, they're gonna accept who I am for what I am, no matter what. So, and it's also a piece of history, because it was with you since childhood. You're growing up during the process, and the sketchbook also grows with you. So, just ripping out one page is like ripping a part of yourself. This is my piece. Actually, this is my second piece for the arts. My theme is the Rafted Medusa, but in this case, the only difference is that I'm the artist, and I'm just trying to show the viewer how I relate to the piece personally. I want to show tragedy, the pain that I feel as an artist seeing this piece. I distorted the faces to also show extra pain. But I was given a suggestion that by doing this, it's just covering up difficulties. So I tried going about with a different strategy by making myself look like I'm sleeping in the bed. It's still giving me problems. I'm working on it, but I know that at the end I'll triumph. I told you that I wanted motion incorporated into this. So what I did was I drew the original hand, but I used my hand to create that motion. And I've studied a ball in motion, in this case a handball, and I've noticed that even when things moving, there's a starting and an end point, and in between those two points there are gray scales or dark and medium shades.
Portfolio students attend portfolio reviews in which you bring your whole body of work and you discuss it with a professor or an admissions officer. They usually tell you information about the college itself, or if you're applying to a program like Cooper Union's summer program, it's used for determining whether you gain entrance or not. The summer program is really helpful to students because it helps them develop their portfolio. It's also a pretty rigorous program because it's designed in order to imitate a foundation year in an art school. How do you come up with ideas? Where do you primarily work, usually?
I've been confined to my room. Small story, but I guess it's every parent's nightmare. I work a lot with paint, and lots of moms, especially the moms, they like their furniture, as the way it was the day they first bought it. And unfortunately, I tend to be a little messy with the paint. And my mom gave me an ultimatum. She said, "You work in this room, my room. You can't work anywhere else. I forbid it. You're not gonna, because I have a new carpet in the sister's room. You're not gonna paint there. Forget about it." And my father agreed to that. So I usually work in this room here, or in the hallway outside my room over there. Contests, I would say, grew me up a bit. In general, my portfolio was, the motivation to expand my portfolio was due to the contest, because, the work that you have to put in for a contest is enormous. Through contests, I really learned the meaning of what taking on responsibilities really are. With contests, I've been presented with with deadlines, and with deadlines, you had to work up to a speed like this. For scholastic art, I pulled a couple of all-nighters, and I enjoyed doing that, but at the same time, in the morning I was kind of dead tired, but I still had my work done, and I kind of felt good that I actually pulled this off, because it is difficult in the night where you're it's 5-6 a.m. in the morning and you're still painting or still drawing, and to keep up that concentration and the drive it's difficult. I think we all have that with kids. It's in the portfolio class, this drive is this is a commitment, I really wanted to test myself. I want to see how well I can handle this type of pressure, because I know from other seniors that have told me college life, you think a contest is hard, you just wait. Think of it 10 times harder. And I'm you know what, if that's what college life is I want to see how I am right now, and see if I can really handle this. And you know what, I did my all-nighters, I did my home tests, and I'm proud of myself for that.
So in my senior year, when I was accepted and rejected to all the colleges, I finally came down to 2 colleges, which was Cornell University and Rhode Island School of Design. And I had to pick between those 2, and then it was a really tough choice, because both of them were very widely known. They're very top-rated colleges, but they're different, because one is, mostly concentrates on art, while the other is, half and half, academics and the arts. I was really concerned about which job I was going to get right after graduating college, but as I made the decision, I realized that it's not really about, getting a job. College is not really about that. It's about, studying what I want to do, doing all the things that I want to do.
So I applied to about 7 schools for architecture, bachelor degree in architecture, and I got accepted to all of them. And so I had to make my final decision on what I wanted to do. So it was between Cooper Union and Carnegie Mellon, and I was speaking to a couple of people, and a few representatives from Cooper Union were explaining the differences between Cooper and Carnegie. Where Cooper is a more idea-based kind of school, where you come up with like thoughts and ideas. But Carnegie is more like an engineering school where you have to all the math and it's like very precise. So they don't like they may not give you room for your creativity. With that's like one of the reasons why I decided to go to Cooper. Well, I know that I've heard that the itinerary of architecture students is extremely full, and I know architecture students are not going to be sleeping when they're in Cooper. So I have to prepare myself, get as much rest as possible, during the summer. But I seriously can't wait to go. I can't wait to just start, becoming an architect, my dream.
I chose Yale because I knew I wanted to do art, yet I wasn't sure whether that was the only thing I wanted to do. So basically what I liked about their program was the fact that since you're getting a liberal arts degree, you're not stuck in one pre-professional program, and you don't choose your major until the end of your sophomore year. So this way it gives me a chance to try different art classes, to try different architecture classes, and basically for me to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. I definitely see myself in some kind of creative field. What that is, I really don't know.
I've been thinking about maybe film might be a good field for me, because I find that TV is the greatest medium in this day and age to get your point across to other people. Someone who says that you don't need a drawing ability or to go into like film for one thing, that's not true. Like, you got to sketch out your ideas and present them to people, and like if you can't draw and people don't know what they're looking at, like how successful is that going to come out to be into making a film? I really feel like as if like I've grown out of the adolescent phase of growing up, that I'm actually going on as an adult, and I've gained the respect of my parents for that and my peers. That's like one of the biggest rewards, is that they look at me as a man now, not like as a kid anymore, because they've seen what I've put myself through by my choice. It wasn't by force. I chose to do what I wanted to do. I chose the all-nighters. I chose the home tests. I chose the competitions, and I really feel as if that like I'm starting my life, like it's really starting to happen for me, and that's like one of the biggest rewards I've got out. It's just the respect and from my parents, and the respect that I hold for myself now is a lot higher than it was before. I never pictured myself worrying about what colleges were going to take me or not, and just going through all that processes of the stress and the all-nighters, the home tests, and the critiques, not by other people but on yourself. I critique myself pretty hardly. I like things I want things to be really good, because I know what I'm capable of, and so I kind of set myself very high on expectations, and I'm not afraid to go for those expectations, because I know that I can achieve them, because I've been accepted to one of the best art colleges in the country.